Welcome to week 10 of Building Character. And quite honestly, one of my favorite stories in the Bible, and is the story of Nehemiah. And so today, we're going to study through just the first chapter of Nehemiah, where it's almost his biography. He's the one with the pen in his hand, talking about the faithfulness of God as he returned to Jerusalem to see not only the city rebuilt, but the people restored. And so Nehemiah is coming on the heels of Ezra, the priest, and coming behind him to bring almost reinforcements of resources and people and his own efforts and energy. But most importantly, what Nehemiah brings is his prayerfulness. And so in the first chapter, we're going to recognize what a powerful moment Nehemiah experienced with the Lord when he heard that Jerusalem wasn't what it was supposed to be, that the city lay in ruin. And then it cut Nehemiah to the heart, cut him so deeply that he went immediately into weeping and praying and fasting and repenting for the sins of the people, for the sins of the forefathers, and claiming back to God the promises that they can take hold of because of them, because they are his people. And so as we go through the first chapter, it might bleed into the rest of the book of Nehemiah, and may that be the case, because there is so much for us to glean in building character of a man that, again, almost seemingly is much like David, just a man after God's own heart, maybe even a Daniel type person. But at the end of the day, like all of the characters we're studying, he's just a man. But he's a man that's faithful. He's a man that God uses part of his redemption story in the biblical narrative. And then even up through today, God can use you in the same ways. So as we look at what not only prayerfulness looks like, but integrity and strong leadership and core convictions that push away those that would speak against us or against people doing the work of the Lord, be bold. Take heart. Know that God is with you, just like he is with Nehemiah. And maybe there's some rebuilding to be done in your life. Maybe there's some rebuilding to be done in your family, or maybe in your community. Maybe there's rebuilding to do here in the church. And so maybe God's calling you into that. And so as we reflect, may we start with prayerfulness, but may it lead us to action. May it lead us to being bold for Jesus. Because at the end of the day, Jesus is the one that looked upon this earth, that said, this is too broken for them to fix. This is too down and out for me not to be a part of. And so Jesus, like Nehemiah, Jesus stepped into our situation. He stepped into our Jerusalem, for an analogy. And he said, I'm going to use these people, the church, to rebuild what was broken. And he's doing it continuously. So may we just finally land tonight on the person that is Jesus, as the one that came to the rescue, as the one that shored up the body, and the one that is restoring us. Because ultimately, in the story of Nehemiah, one of the most beautiful pictures is where the word of the Lord is proclaimed. People fall in repentance, and Nehemiah says, stop weeping. There's rejoicing to be had here. And that's Jesus' invitation, that he takes the broken, brings it fully restored through his gospel, and commissions us to take the greatest news in the world out to the people that we have a relationship with. So I hope you have a great, great time. Would you just dive into the prayer, the same prayer that Nehemiah had, and look for those opportunities out in the world to see God's kingdom come through the gospel.